Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show rolls on here on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, and Forum.com. We mentioned the NCAA Super Regionals in baseball begin tomorrow. They figure out the 8 teams, best of 3, that will head to Omaha. The College World Series begins a week from tomorrow. Kentucky is one of those teams playing. They're ranked 2nd in the country. Typically, we wouldn't be paying attention a lot to Kentucky baseball, but we got a reason to next season. Our next guest has decided he's going to play his final year of collegiate baseball in the SEC with the Wildcats. The last time we visited with Cole Hage, it was in New York City in the midst of a great run for this Columbia baseball team. He had another year of eligibility, and he's going to spend it in the SEC, and he joins us now for the Fargo Davies alum. It's great to see you. Congratulations. I know last time we did this, you were in New York City. That was pretty good for an interview background. But how you been? Congratulations.
I've been well. It's good to be on here, Dom. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for this next step here.
Trading a different kind of blue for another. We were just visiting off air. I don't know if I've talked to anybody going through the baseball transfer portal. How did this work for you? And actually, before that, give us the background, because the Ivy League, you can't redshirt. So you had an extra year floating out there, correct?
Yeah, so COVID happened, and the conference did not play at all that season.
Right. So
everyone got that extra year of eligibility. So there's a lot of Ivy League guys who are going to other places to play their 5th year. So, yes, and there is the option. The weird option is you can take, the fall off, and you could, delay your graduation process. But I wasn't very interested in that.
Yeah.
And, it also did open up an opportunity for me to go and maybe try and play somewhere else, somewhere like Kentucky.
Was that pretty readily apparent for you, a decision once you got the extra year, you were going to spend it somewhere else, that you made that decision early on?
Yes. I love Columbia. I loved the teammates and I loved everything, but I also wanted to try something new as well. And when I was a kid, schools like in the ACC, the SEC, and baseball, I mean, that's the pinnacle of the competition and performance atmosphere, and that's where I wanted to try and go.
Tell us about Kentucky. How did this all come about?
So Kentucky reached out because I was in the portal, and immediately I clicked with the coaches, their culture, the way that they play. They're all about playing for each other. They bunt a lot. They're stealing a lot. They had the most steals, I think, in the SEC, and they're a very well-rounded team. Pitching, hitting, everything. They're top of the charts in the SEC for all those. And that's the type of place that I want to play at. And their player development, they've brought in guys and they've completely transformed their performance on the field. And that's exactly what I want to do when I go there. And the coaches and I clicked, and the facilities are great. And I feel like it sets me up perfectly for the type of player I want to be.
SEC, man, I mean, that you're just talking about it. For those of us that follow anything SEC related is pretty darn good. Baseball is notwithstanding in that. When they started showing interest in you, you're like, okay, this is where I've always wanted to be.
Yeah, and it was at first it was a little surprising because I hadn't had any other SEC. They were the first SEC team to reach out, and I was like, oh, because obviously it was a dream, and in high school and everything, I didn't have any. It was mostly just JUCOs and then Columbia.
Yeah.
So when a big name school like that reaches out, it kind of takes you back a little bit, and obviously the excitement and everything took over. And then when you click with the coaches and the culture and everything seems to match, it's pretty cool. So
let's go back to your time at Columbia. I mean, 3-time Ivy League all-first team. You had a dynamite career there. Describe your experience. You made the NCAA tournament. You guys won a game a couple years ago. How would you describe the 3 years you played with Columbia?
I would say it taught me the most about the game out of anywhere I could ask to play, because the group of guys was the biggest thing for me. I mean, it made the Columbia experience awesome. I learned from them. It was a very competitive nature there. And, I'm very thankful for my time there. And it taught me to be more of a student of the game. And being a student of the game, I feel like, is the most important separator from high school to college. You have to look at the small little details, and base running and all that stuff. Because if you don't know exactly what you want to do in every situation, you get exposed. And, you can't do that at the next level.
For people that don't know, Cole, you were mentioning this, the Ivy League is loaded. This is not, some run-of-the-mill baseball, you're playing high-level guys. They may not associate that with the schools that you're playing, but describe the level of competition you guys face in conference. You got some dynamite baseball players in that league.
Yeah, so at times, it does get a bad rep, but like there are a lot of good players. For instance, the guy that we faced in the first round of the tournament was 92, 95, and he's going to Wake Forest. And then, there's a handful of other guys, Wyatt Hensler, also on that Penn team. He had 22 home runs. He set the Penn record, and he's going to Texas A&M. It's like there's a lot of – last year we had a guy who went to Texas A&M, and he's playing on this historic run for them as well. It's like there's a lot of great players that often get overlooked, and now these other conferences with our extra eligibility are starting to realize this and kind of tap into what the Ivy League has to offer, which are a good group of guys.
I know it had to be frustrating. You had a dynamite year, and then you ran into a buzzsaw at the end. How frustrating was how this past season ended?
Yeah, it was tough. And I think the hardest part was it's the last time I ever get to play with those group of guys and under that uniform. It was a great time with, under Coach Brady and all them. And there's a lot of emotions at the end of it, but also like positive emotions as well. Looking back on the experience, looking how much I've grown as a person, on and off the field. And, we thought that it didn't end how we wanted it to end. We came in, we were first after conference play,
Right.
we won conference outright. And, we just didn't play our best ball in the 2 games, which that happens. But, it's only looking forward, and I'm thankful for the time and the opportunity anyway.
You got a glimpse of the SEC this season, though. You opened with Florida. So just for people that don't know, give us that experience of playing against the Gators in Gainesville and what SEC baseball is like.
It's completely different from baseball anywhere else in the country for college. The fans, the stadiums, the facilities, every time we get there, it's like it's got that wow factor. And all the fans are a little bit different too. They're a little more intense. They're all about the pride of the team and everything, and that's what makes it so cool. And obviously Florida was a great team when we played them this year. We ended up losing those games, but it set us up good for later on in the season. You learn from playing great teams like that, and you can take from them and you can implement it into your game. And that's what we did. And then we ended up going on that hot stretch too.
And Florida's still playing. I'm looking at the SEC teams that are still alive. Tennessee's still playing. Texas A&M is still playing. Florida's still playing. Kentucky's obviously still going. So SEC's done well for itself this year in the base. And Vanderbilt got beat. I mean, some people were freaking out like Vanderbilt and Arkansas lost. SEC's still doing pretty well in the baseball tournament.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you look at every team in the SEC. I mean, I take any team and they'd be able to compete against anyone else in the nation. I think that really shows the strength and their strength of schedule too. I mean, if you look at they like RPI and they have all these KPI rankings and everything, every SEC team's at the top because their competition throughout the entire year is the highest you can possibly get it. And that's part of the appeal to it. I know I'm going to be tested. I know it's going to be, a challenge, and my resiliency and mental toughness is going to be put at test again. But that's exactly why I want to do it, because it'll make me the best baseball player that I can become.
I'm interested. A couple questions left here, Willie, but I really appreciate the time. When you committed, I remember having you on the show about that was at the all-time peak, I thought, of Fargo baseball. You guys, post-2 team, went to the Legion World Series. You guys finished runner-up. In the years since, we've had another team win a championship. The Dirt Dogs won a championship. We saw the Little League team make it to the World Series. It seems baseball around here has gotten even better since you moved on. Can you remark about that and comment about how the level of youth baseball since your time playing, Little League and high school ball has gotten even better in the 6-7 years since then?
Yeah, no, that's something that I was talking to a lot of my friends about as well. You come back here, I come back here and all I hear about is, the level of competition now that's playing in the state tournament. You got guys throwing in the 90s, the mid to high 80s. There wasn't a lot of that when I was in high school. There was guys that still got up there, but it's like the talent pool right now in the Fargo metro area is crazy. And I love it. And obviously I'm pumped for it because I want baseball to be a big part of the culture here. And, I think the necessary steps are being made. And I think the improvements and the fundamentals are great. So
people that don't remember, you were a 3-sport stud at Davies. When's the last time you had a jump, picked up a basketball and shot a 3? Have you done that lately?
Very rarely, but I'll tell you what, I still go to the gym and I work on my, trying to dunk it. In high school, I really didn't have any dunks in games, but because I've lost 15 pounds actually, and
No
I'll tell
kidding.
you what, it's really showing on the vert. I'm starting to get up there a little bit.
How about football? I mean, you can't just pick up a game of football, but do you miss it? Do you miss that at all?
I do. I've worked for the physicality that I've been able to present on the baseball field, and there are times in my head where I'm like, man, I wonder what it would be like if I was on, the football field as well, because I feel like I do bring that speed and size and strength that could be translatable. But who knows? That's another life, a different path that would have been.
So the Columbia football coach never came to you and say, hey, we could use you. We could use your running back this week.
There was a lot of talks among the football guys because I was close with them too, and like even the strength coaches for the football team, they would always try to be getting to push me in the direction to try out for the team. But baseball was a sport for me. Like I think I have the best potential for it and the highest end in it. So it made it pretty clear early on that there was a sport that I wanted to pursue.
Last thing for you, what are you most excited about Kentucky? What do you think can really tap into your baseball potential to maybe have pro baseball out there? Why is Kentucky the right step for you?
It's the competition that we talked about day in and day out, not only other teams, but also within my practices. I'm going to be facing guys who are going to get drafted, who are very skilled in every aspect of the game, and I'm going to learn from them. And I'm also, hopefully I can teach them some things too, but it's going to present, an opportunity for me to craft myself into the player that I want to become and work on some of my weaknesses. Like I didn't necessarily have very many steals this year. That's something that right away they said, hey, we want you getting 20, 25 bags because they recorded my times and everything and they were impressed by them. And, I want to present bunting as well and do it because when I go up to the plate, I haven't really bunted before, but, no one expects it too. And it could be something that can open up, other aspects because I get shifted too. So it's just about playing the game better, which is something that I feel like they're really going to help me do. And also, again, day in, day out, seeing this level of competition, that's something that I'm going to be seeing at the pro level, especially right away. So if I get used to it now, I feel like it'll pay dividends later on.
Were you able to keep the powder blue uniform you got in Columbia? Because that's fantastic. Were you able to keep that one, the full powder blue?
I wasn't, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
And so when you end your career, you end up getting in a frame, a jersey.
Yeah.
And it was our white jersey, which I still loved it, but
good.
Yeah, it was kind of cool playing in a powder blue.
Oh, man, those powder blues are sweet, man. We were just showing highlights over this past season. It's great to see you. Congratulations, and we'll do this again soon when you get ready to go down to Kentucky. Thanks for the time, man, and congratulations.
Thank you, Dom. Thanks for having me on.
There he is, Cole Hage, Fargo Davies alum, and now Columbia alum. There's no slight in that. He's got an Ivy League education, and now he's going to go play baseball for his final year in the SEC. Professional baseball is on tap for that guy. If anybody remembers what he did in high school in either football, basketball, or baseball, you had a sense that this guy was going to be really darn good. And he was a 3-time first-team selection in the Ivy League. All 3 years he played, he was a first-team player. It's pretty darn good. And now we'll see him in the SEC this time next year. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll get you ready. We got a big Sports Thursday on tap, including Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Mike will wrap right after this.